We will be starting shortly. Just give us 2 minutes while we wait for everyone to join our live. Okay, I think we can begin. So, justice isn't a concept, it's the foundation of a fair and equal society. But how do legal systems actually work to uphold the social justice?
So,
How can laws be made more inclusive, accessible, and effective in bridging societal gaps? On this World Day of Social Justice, we are bringing together a diverse panel of legal experts who have spent years navigating the complexities of law, from corporate governance to financial justice and criminal defense to civil rights. Our panelists will break down the real world impact of legal frameworks in promoting fairness and equality. This isn't just about legal theory, it's about how the law shapes lives, businesses, and communities. So let's dive into these critical discussions with some of the best minds in the field. I will start by introducing our panelists today. We have Advocate Christopher Manoharan, a seasoned corporate lawyer with 30 plus years of experience in mergers and acquisitions, venture capital, and trademark litigation. Then we have Advocate Deepika, who's a partner at Vigil Juris, specializing in insolvency law and representing businesses before the NCLT. Before we start our discussion, there's a small video about Rest the Case, which I'm just going to play, and then we can start our discussion.
In a world where time is precious, getting swift access to legal help shouldn't be a privilege, but a right. Welcome to Rest the Case, India's most trusted online platform for legal solutions. We are transforming the legal tech landscape, bridging gaps, and bringing legal support to anyone, anywhere, at any time. The legal field in India can be overwhelming. Courts are crowded, the search for the right legal help is confusing, and legal fees can be unpredictable. Many litigants face trust issues, uncertain about finding a lawyer who truly understands their needs. Rest the Case solves this by providing verified lawyer profiles, making it easier than ever to find trusted legal support.
We all are aware of that lawyers are not allowed to advertise themselves, right? But again, they do need something else going on from their routine practice, just so that there are people who actually know about them, so that they can reach out to them without any hassle and easily.
That's where Rest the Case steps in. From consultations to document drafting and court representation, our digital platform brings legal expertise to your fingertips.
The legal ecosystem is a triangle: judiciary, litigant, and the lawyer. But we are touching the litigants, both B2C, retail, and B2B corporates, and the lawyers. So our tools will make life simpler for litigants, retail, by helping them reach the right lawyers. We are using GenAI, we are creating an improved matching system. And for B2B, which is for startups and mid-level corporates, we are helping them by doing tasks like document draft creation, also other aspects which relates to their internal process improvement.
Powered by cutting-edge technology, our platform leverages AI to match users with the most suitable lawyers. Based on expertise and location, from its start, Rest the Case has grown rapidly. With a presence across India, our mission is to provide legal accessibility everywhere, from big cities to smaller towns.
our vision is to make legal support accessible and affordable for everyone in India. Our journey began in the lockdown, where suddenly people did not know what to do or where to find the right legal support. We then realized that this is not just a pandemic issue. This is an issue that people face every day and everywhere. That's how Rest the Case was born. We bridged the gap between a lawyer and a client to give them a reliable place to find the right legal help.
Rest the Case, because every case deserves the right support.
Thank you for watching the video. So I would like to start today's discussion by asking both our panelists, What, according to you, is social justice in the context of today's legal system in our country? Whoever would like to go first.
Yeah, so good evening. First of all,
There
I
was
would
some
like to
issue
say
there.
thank you and congratulate you. This is a wonderful platform, and a wonderful topic. I mean, social justice is not about legal thing; it's general for people. So when we say it's about in context of legal, so our constitution do provide for the equal opportunity, equality, law against discrimination. But the point is, we have a legal framework in a place, but when it comes to enforceability, there are challenges because you know people are not aware of the thing. We I don't want to say about urban area, but there are rural area where people don't know what are their rights. So here it's today it's a wonderful platform you have given where we can discuss how we can bridge the gap between people who are not aware of the thing, maybe with the help of technology or a legal awareness, what right they have, maybe women, maybe underprivileged people, maybe poor unprivileged children who have their right to education which they are not aware of. So let's with the help of my co-panelists, let's discuss that how we can bridge this gap.
Thank you so much, Advocate Deepika. Advocate Christopher, would you like to add something to this?
Yeah. So, social justice is really, becoming a big challenge, as both in terms of what is happening in reality, be it the private sector or even the public sector, and even the courts for that matter. I think we are facing a big challenge with respect to, the common man. That is, the marginalized sectors. It could range from, you know, uh,
I believe you're facing some network issue there. Yeah, I think Advocate Christopher is facing some issue. So while he comes
can't hear
back,
me.
yeah, now you're I can hear you now. Sorry,
Yeah,
but we missed the last bit that you were saying.
yeah. So I was saying that even during the lockdown, there were there were the interstate migrant workers who were forced to go back to their homes, and in the process, they had to face a lot of hardship, and they didn't even get the necessary, the basic reliefs that they were entitled to in terms of food and commute. Nothing of the sort was organized. And they had to go through a lot of suffering before they, some of them even didn't manage to reach the destinations. We have something called the Disaster Management Act. We have something called the Disaster Management Authority, which is which is helmed by the Prime Minister of India himself. But you can see, nothing much was done. You had a law officer who appeared on behalf of the government in the Supreme Court and said that there's nobody walking on the streets, while you had the media which was flooding the viewers with with images of people, families, children, women walking along the highways and having nobody to take care of them. So I'm just giving you one example. So there are many such examples over a period of time, uh, where you see social justice really, falling, social justice being given a very raw treatment. And you see, a lot of, yeah, you see only the entitled, getting whatever they have to get from the courts, which is a very sad state of affairs, the way it is currently. Uh, you have a few beacons of light here and there, uh, where you have some bit of, some good things happening. But overall, the situation as regards the common man is very bleak. Even if you look at a whole wide range of issues, which I think we can uh, we can talk about in the next few minutes. The whole range, a wide range of issues. I think the common man and his interests are taking a beating. So that is what we are currently being faced with. So when you spoke about social justice and on Social Justice Day, uh, I thought that it's something that is close to our hearts as lawyers, because I think one of the reasons we people came into the profession was basically to see how we could help the underprivileged in some form or the other. Uh, but that being said, I think over a period of time, probably our roads also, kind of diverged, and we kind of lost sight of the fact as to why we as lawyers are not taking as much part as we should be taking as far as social justice is concerned. So yes, so that's my preliminary view on the status of things.
to add to add on here, even we are aware of the things. Sometimes, we being a professional, we know the things, what is right, what is wrong, but then there is a judicial system where we really can't help. I mean, there are certain things which are not there in our hand, and we are really feeling helpless about it. So just to add on that, like, we know what we are for, but sometimes we don't have anything to do with.
Yeah, very true, very true. Yes. So yeah. So there any particular questions? So this is my preliminary take on
Yeah.
the discussion.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
so adding on to, or taking the discussion in the direction then of what is the role of legal professionals in social justice or in promoting social justice in our country? If we could discuss a little bit on that, since you're also talking about it right now.
Yeah, when we say legal professional, I mean, legal profession is the instrumental to spread awareness, or who can help for the social justice. Like, lawyer can advocate for unprivileged people, they can handle pro bono cases, they can give access to the unprivileged people who are not aware of their right. Then judges, role of judges, they can interpret the law in a way that gives social justice to that marginalized people who are not, who don't have access. Like, there are privileged people and there are unprivileged people, so judges can do that, part of the rule. Then parliament or a policy maker, they should make a regulation or guidelines which is in their favor to promote social justice. Then, yeah, so, and government, what government can do here, we have that legal aid thing, but then we should increase the budget of it, because there are people who want to go to court but they can't, they don't want to, because it is a thing that financial burden, time it will take. We all know how our judicial system work, so we need some improvement over there. People, junior advocates or a senior advocates who are doing pro bono cases, they should be given some incentives, so that encourage them to do something for the society. So obviously legal profession do, uh, they have, I mean, everything I think is there in legal profession where they can help people for the social justice. Our constitution provide for everything. We have our fundamental right. We there are PILs filed, Vishakha guidelines. Then there is a amendment, because there was one judgment which decriminalized section 377. So there are reforms, there are changes, but implementation is the challenge, and it's still challenge. I mean, to follow the process, to enforce it is really challenge for the people.
So taking on from what Advocate Deepika is saying, I think the main issue here is how do we give access to the underprivileged? How do we give access to people who don't have access to the judiciary? To the courts. So today, if you see, most people, they are not only having access. So you have two parts of the litigating of the general public. Okay, you have one part of the general public who are really aggrieved and who are not able to have access to the courts because they are financially weak. You have another portion of the public who have been victimized by the law, for whatever reason. They have been, they are not at fault, but for some reason look like accused. They are put behind bars. In prison for a very long time. They are completely like they don't. They also don't have access to justice,
I think we've lost
access to basic legal support, and
Sorry.
Sorry, Advocate Christopher, we can't hear you again. Yeah, I think we've lost him. Um, so,
so who's going to take? Can you hear me now?
yeah, we can hear you now. You were gone in the middle, but now you're back.
Yeah. So I was talking about two sections of the public. I hope I got you.
Yeah, I don't think his network is correct. So by the time that issue gets sorted out, why don't we talk a little bit about the obligations of lawyers? So you were talking about how in the legal system there are different professionals whose job it is. But as a lawyer, personally, what do you think should be your responsibility towards social justice?
So, same thing. We need to work towards something. So, lawyer cannot. It's a system. Lawyer
Hmm.
cannot alone do anything
Yeah,
because their hands are tied. They have to ultimately go before the judicial system.
yeah,
So there has to be some, like when I said legal aid, I mean some fund for the poor people. They can or public prosecutor or a government leader where they should be approachable by the poor people. There should be awareness of that there are people available there to represent you before the court. So this main is awareness. We have our legal framework. We have we have provisions in our constitution. We have a lot of amendments. In fact, if we talk about environment, there is the Environment Protection Act. There are environment activism, but we all know what is going on with our environment, our climate. We are facing that challenges because people are not aware of it. We don't know how to enforce it. So a lawyer can make something, like people like you who are conducting this kind of webinar or seminar, which is digitally or online available. That's a good platform. It's accessible to everyone. And with but again, in rural area there is no network coverage. That challenge is still there. So it's not about duty of lawyer. It's entire system where lawyer, judiciary, government, then now comes digital world. Everyone has their own role to play
yeah.
for social justice.
Advocate Christopher, now that we have you back, if you could
Yeah.
continue
So
your point.
yeah. So that's what I was just talking about, and I think what Advocate Deepika was also saying.
As soon as he starts talking, he goes away. It was fine till he was okay.
So it's really the access.
Hello. Uh, Sorry, Advocate Christopher. Again, your network is, I think, a bit sketchy.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, yeah. No
Can you hear
worries.
me
Now,
now?
yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just trying to get connected to another network, but that's also taking time. But
No
all the same,
issue.
let me see what I can do with this.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Cannot hear him. Um, Okay, I will then move on to the next question or next part of our discussion. Um, do you think that the current legal framework that we have is that enough for in ensuring there is social justice instilled in the legal framework, or do you think there needs to be more laws or more systems in place? Just thinking from like a law perspective.
So here I would say only same thing. I will repeat my point. The legal frame, our law is there in place.
Okay.
Our constitution gives right of equality, protection against discrimination. Only thing is implementation and enforcement.
Hmm.
People should. There is a principle. Everybody is aware of the law of land,
Hmm.
but that's not true. Factually, it's not true. Nobody knows what is their right.
Hmm.
People are unaware of it. So legal framework is there for women. Now there's a act for transgender also. They are also given recognition.
Hmm.
We have right to education, where now in fact there's a changes. In fact, I have personally experienced, even in my daughter's school we have that quota for poor people there.
Yeah.
So they have now access to school, which is in a way good. So we have guidelines in a place. Even in organization, we, due to that Vishakha guidelines, Posh Act has come into force. Now everywhere there's a guideline for against sexual harassment. So things are there in place, but enforcement is not there. Implementation is not there due to lack in awareness, accessibility.
Hmm.
These are main concern. I would still harp on that. We need to work on that. How activists can also do their part of thing. NGO should work with the government to give knowledge in a rural area what are their right. If you say they have a lot of land but they don't know how to get custody of it, they don't know whose name that property belongs to, they are not aware of it. Lack of education, lack of their knowledge about the law. We don't assume or presume that they should be aware of legal system, but they have their right. They should be at least aware of that, and then they can approach some government leader where who can help them. Or there should be NGO, there should be legal aid everywhere with, which should, I think in rural area they can work somewhere like with panchayat they have legal aid system. There should be some improvement in network, or now we have 5G. Let's see how it will work in rural area. So digital access, like we have now online filing, that will save the time also and cost also.
Hmm.
Still it needs improvement, but things are going in right direction. Only thing is now it's about awareness and access to the public who are not, they are, which is not accessible to them. So that's the whole point.
Right. And do you think that PILs or public interest litigations are something which help social justice reform? Do you think they are a driving force in it? We can try if Advocate Christopher can add on to this. I No, I don't think so. He's online. If you can hear me, Advocate Christopher, maybe you can rejoin, leave and rejoin, and then maybe we can try. But yeah, Advocate Deepika, you can.
So PIL is, it says public interest litigation. It is in for the interest of public. It is instrumental for social justice. Um, Again, I would harp on Vishakha. It's due to PIL. Then there's a food case. Because of that PIL, we have Food Security Act in place that everybody has right to food. So PIL does help, but nowadays people are taking advantage and frivolous petitions are filed. That should be avoided. That unnecessary, like there is something for your benefit, which you are doing. I mean, you are taking. I mean, it's going in wrong direction.
Yeah.
There are so many cases which are pending in the court, and now this PIL things are going on. For
Right.
one matter, we are reading every day that so many petitions are filed. That should be avoided. There
Right.
should be some filter at registrar level or a department level, that if there's a one petition filed in particular subject, then there should not be, they should not allow only for
Hmm.
other,
It to
you know,
go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
there should be some filter.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Advocate Christopher, I I Hello. We can hear you, but very, very. It's very sketchy. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We
Are you able to hear me? Is it better?
Yeah. Now we
I'll
can
just
hear
switch
you.
off the video so that you can hear me. Is this?
Yeah, yeah,
Are you able to hear me now? Okay.
yeah. I can, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I can hear you.
yeah. So yeah. I just lost you guys a little bit in between. So
Yeah.
are you talking about access to the legal system?
Yes, we were. We had a
Is that what you're
discussion.
talking about, or is
Yeah.
it something else that you were talking?
So we were just in general. We started with where you were there, where we were talking about the legal professionals' responsibility with social justice, and then we kind of moved on to what's the lawyer's role. Then what do PILs play a role in social justice? So that's where we are right now.
Yeah. So see, if you actually look at it, PILs have actually shaped, Indian jurisprudence right from the days of, MC Mehta and a lot of other judges with things that happened after that. So I think this PILs have been a great, you know, and then you have the other. You also had the other case, right? On social justice for the weaker sections, uh, which
Hmm.
uh, which also made big news. I can't quite remember immediately.
Yeah.
If you really look at it, PILs have been a great instrument of bringing justice. There's
Hmm.
no doubts about it. But I think is going to be an important part of growth of social justice in India is really access of the litigants to the
Yeah.
judiciary. So how we we enable this is going to be the game changer. So this could variety of mechanisms like what the was saying is actually the mechanism of legal aid. So we need to strengthen the legal aid mechanism. I would say in tatters in most of the places because you normally have people who the advocates in legal aid are not represent their clients because it's a very random kind of an of cases to lawyers and it is not based on any kind of any kind of a system any kind of an assessment system by which briefs are assigned. So it is like anybody can go and pick up briefs and if you look at the professional fees also it isn't much. So it'll be difficult to handle those briefs in the midst of his other briefs. So to be able for him to do justice to that particular brief is a big challenge. So that is the kind of challenge that lawyers today are faced with. So if there
Yeah.
is any way in which this mechanism can be streamlined, that is the legal aid mechanism can be streamlined, so that people can approach this legal aid mechanism without any kind of a without any kind of a fear or without any kind of a you know doubt in their minds. I think that will be a huge step. And I haven't heard of any particular state in the country really concentrating on that bit. So talking about legal aid, it actually expands issues like legal aid could be for various reasons. Legal aid could be for reasons of financial need, where people are getting harassed because they have that because of borrowing. Or because of borrowing, they are borrowers who cannot repay. It could be
Hmm.
victims of different kinds of you know harassments where they don't have access to the litigation machinery and they have been deprived. It could be people. It could be people suffering various like domestic violence. It could be people suffering, the issues in marriage, who don't have proper grievance redressal system. It could also be people who the list is really endless. In India, you have different forms of discrimination, which take place, and where people don't really have access to quality legal support. So how do you redress these issues? I think that is where the issue is. So unless this is, I think, the bedrock of it. Today you have one or two lawyers. Like for example, there's this movie which came out in Tamil Nadu, J Beam, which won the national award, and which spoke about one particular lawyer who took up the struggle of tribals. He was willing to go that extra mile, travel all the way from the capital city of Chennai to some godforsaken tribal area, and help out those people who are getting victimized by the feudal system out there, who are getting robbed of their homes, their livelihoods, who are actually tribals living in the forests. So they had some rights as forest dwellers. So they were being deprived of those rights. So, and in fact, people, somebody was actually killed. So how did he, how did he stand against the system? How did he actually bring those people who were at fault, who were on the wrong side of the law? How did he bring them to justice? Was everything that movie was. If you look at it, we need more such lawyers. But you know, how many such lawyers do we have, and how many such lawyers can actually do it?
Yeah.
So you who has become a hero. We need not one such lawyer. We need hundreds of such lawyers. Who, if you want to make a change in society, we need hundreds of such lawyers, and that is where the issue is. Who is going to fund them? Who is going to give them the support to stand up against the existing entrenched systems which have deprived people for years and years? Who is going to stand up against this is a big question mark.
And does the system also support them? I think is a very big
There
question.
should be some policy by government or NGO should work with them, that
Hmm.
people or a lawyer who are doing this kind of work for the
Yeah.
people, they should be given some incentive, some encouragement for them to do such
Correct.
noble work. I mean, our profession is noble profession, but we have to run our house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ultimately, we have also burden. So there should be some system in place which encourage people to take pro bono matters.
Correct. Correct. Um.
And ultimately there is a mentality also of the people. I mean, if people are aware
Hmm.
of their right, there is another issue, like there is a
Hmm.
domestic violence act, we all know what
Yeah.
women right. Still there are sect of people who are aware of their right, but they will not be, due to that stigma thing, they will not
Correct.
go to police station,
Correct.
register the case, नहीं
Yeah.
मेरा पति है मैं नहीं करूँगी.
Hmm.
So वो that another thing we are facing.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a very layered issue. It's not a simple, this only one thing has to be done and it'll be solved. I think it's a very multifaceted issue. A lot of things need to be addressed in order for this to be solved. I think Advocate Christopher,
Government and NGO both can go hand in hand
hand
and
in hand.
can do, yeah, at least for
Yeah.
rural, yeah, they can promote these things.
Yeah.
Where
And do you think technology now, even in the legal field, a lot of technology is coming? So, for example, we have, courts that are virtual courts, possibly, or we have different other, legal tech reforms. Do you think this will help in any way in bringing some access to law to people from marginalized communities, or what is your take on that?
it does help. It does help. Matlab, today now people are like before. It's like even we go to doctor, before going to the doctor, we do the research.
Yeah,
Same with legal system. Now people have access. Everybody has mobile and data is very cheap. I mean, it
correct.
is affordable. Only thing is certain area where you don't get network. Otherwise, digital. Now we are in digital era. This online thing. There's an e-court system. Every hearing is online hearing, so they are aware. Like earlier, there used to be things like client doesn't come to the court, then they don't know what's going on, whether advocate is really appeared for him or
Hmm.
not. They are not aware of it. Now they, even advocates know that they are watching, so there's a supervision.
Hmm.
So that online thing is really helping out. uh, Due to that digital research,
Yeah.
everybody aware of it, that this is my right. Only thing is, now in rural area it should, I mean, we should promote this more. Otherwise, this digital thing is really helping the people.
Right. Advocate Christopher, what is your take on it? So I'll just repeat the question. I was asking if technology in the legal space is helping improve the access to, our legal systems to marginalized communities. Um, what's your take on that? I Yes, but your voice is breaking still. Yeah. Yes, we can hear you now.
It reduced delay also, man. Sometimes we don't, I mean, for whatever reason we are not able to reach court, we can all anytime online appear in the court. So that adjournment part we can avoid, because we can.
Yeah. Um, hmm, hmm, right, right,
It's a long way to go, but it's in right direction.
right.
Chandrachud has done right thing. I mean, he has encouraged technology, and
Yeah.
it's working in right direction. Yeah.
Correct. So I'd like to now take a couple of questions from our audiences. So there's one question which asks about the legal protections for victims who are falsely accused. So if we can throw a light on that, on what are the measures to them?
Falsely accused, I mean, in what context? Criminal, yeah. It's a very wide, general question, wide
Vague
question.
question. I mean, from our context, if you can give it from a social justice, if it's say a criminal case, then what happens?
Like, for example, if we say, let's take an example of our private organization where
Hmm.
we have something called like, we have POSH Act in the place,
Hmm. Hmm.
under which there is a guideline.
Hmm.
If we have certain number of people, then that guideline needs to follow in that particular organization. If there is wrong or something wrong happened to you, then obviously you can take shelter of that guidelines. But I don't understand the question here, because in what context, I mean, civil, criminal, victim, in what sense?
I think the person who's asking the question means to ask it in like if they're accused of a certain crime. and then if they are not actually done the crime, I'm also not
They're
100% sure.
they have to give their if they can
If they
elaborate their
can add, yeah, if they can add to this. So then maybe we can go to another question, and see if we can answer that. Um, it's about how social justice works in other countries, and if you know, if we can adopt any system from other countries, if you have any example, if you know about it.
I will repeat my point only that we have enough framework, we have enough guidelines, we have our fundamental rights under constitution. Our preamble says about social justice. It's only about implementation, interpretation, access, awareness of people, and that can be through government, through NGO, or a legal professional like us can
Hmm.
help in that direction.
Right. So you don't think we
we
need to take
have
any
we have system in place. Only thing is we are not, some of them are not aware of it, some of them
implementing it?
aware
Yeah.
of it, but they don't want to take that route. That's a different.
Okay. Okay. Advocate Christopher, would you like to add something to this? Yeah. Sorry. Hello. I will. I think his network is a bit sketchy. So then I think as we're coming towards the end of the discussion, if you can give your closing thoughts on today's discussion, what do you think needs to be done? What do you see the future of social justice being in our country?
Yeah, so summarize here, I would suggest, I mean, what need to improve, and
Hmm.
the system is there in place. We have our constitution, we have all the guidelines for social justice. Now there are certain area where we need to work, like rape in marriages, where we it's a crime, but still we don't have any provision. Now there are two new evidence, like we have new IPC. So government is working in that direction. We are hoping that uh, that decriminalize homosexuality is one of the great move. So it's evolving, we are
Yeah.
working towards it. Only thing is, when we say about social justice, I think we should make some system where legal aid is accessible to underprivileged people or marginalized public who don't have access, and people who are doing that should be compensated so that they can be encouraged to do. Then there should be fast track, I mean, now there are tribunal for corporate matters, we have NCLT, but still same thing, delay in justice. So there should be fast track for this kind of people. Environment activism should be there. I mean, if we talk about environment or a corporate sector, so there is a responsibility of companies also on corporate also, like CSR, they have to fund for CSR. Then there's a ESG, so they are accountable for their sustainability. Now today, as an investor, com- investor will see that how company, whether it's sustainable,
Yeah.
what is their contribution towards ESG or a CSR. So that move is also I mean, it's in right direction. I mean, so there is accountability on corporate, that's a big thing. I mean, it's and they have to disclose also that under SEBI guidelines. There is a companies act, so that is also there in place. Then digital thing, I mean, as we have discussed about it,
Yeah.
like lower courts don't have that system still in place. It's, I mean, long way to go, but then once it's done, then obviously it will be boon for everyone. So legal online system, virtual hearing, that will also help us. So
Yeah.
I think funding part, government should fund more for legal aid, and there should be NGO backed by government for making awareness of this legal system or
Yeah.
their right. That will really help.
Right. Advocate Christopher, if you're here. No, I think. One more question, Advocate Deepika, because just come in, which is quite interesting. Someone's asked if someone feels that a law is unfair, can they do anything to challenge or change it?
So again, it's a wide question. Law is unfair means in what context? I mean, we this statutory provision, it's
Yeah.
unfair. We have like, if we get unfair this thing or a decision against us, then we have upper court to challenge that.
Yeah.
So system is there in place. You have
Yeah.
to approach good lawyer
If
and
there is a
challenge it.
if there is a law that I don't agree with, what as a citizen, what can I do about it? Is there anything I can do, or just
So
chat?
whenever there is a law, whenever there is a law, there is a draft provisions
Yeah.
which will go to public for their observation, their
Okay.
suggestion. Then only it will become bill and then act.
A law. Yeah.
So it's for always for public discussion.
Right.
So that
So,
part is still there.
so I think that answers their question that before it becomes an act, it always is
It
up
goes
for
to
discussion.
public for their suggestion
Okay. Okay.
or
Okay. Okay. That is good to know. Advocate Christopher, are you here? Can you hear us? I think you're on. Hello. Hello. Sorry, we can't hear you. You're not audible. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, right.
so
Um,
like if you are aggrieved by something, if you are victim of something, you have to approach court, and then there will
right.
be judicial system in place. Then there will be judgment towards
Hmm.
it. And if you don't feel like that is in your favor, then again you have that
Go to
upper
the-
force that you can challenge that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So Advocate Christopher, I had asked Advocate Deepika for her closing thoughts on today's discussion. So I'd like to do the same with you. If you would like to just in a few words tell me what do you think about the future of social justice in our country? Where is it heading? That kind of thing. Yeah. Right. Right. So I think with that, if yeah. So I think right. Right. So if either if you don't have anything to add, then I think we are towards the end of today's discussion. Um, so I think today's discussion has shown us that law isn't just limited to courtrooms. It's about people, fairness, and real change. The road to social justice is long, and while laws provide us a framework, it's, I think, all of our collective responsibility to push for reforms, demand fairness, and ensure that justice is accessible to all. I would like to thank our panelists for sharing their insights, and to our audience for being a part of this conversation. Let's continue working towards a society where justice is not a privilege but a right for everyone. Thank you once again for joining us today. It was a really interesting discussion. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to our audience. Have a good evening, everyone.
And for that, we can here only. We have to maximize. We have to share it to maximum people to give
Yes,
them.
yes, definitely do that. Share it with everyone that you can. Thank you so much again. Have a good evening.